Assalamu alaikum. Peace. I am Coach Nazir, and welcome to Mindset Monday. Today, I do have a call-in show, and if you are interested, then you have to be live, of course, either in our community, who will take precedent, or they will get priority. So, with that being said, though, since I'm just starting and getting things going in front of the camera and behind the camera, what I would like you to do is go ahead and share, because sharing is caring, of course, benefits other people, and give me about 60 to 90 seconds to do so as well. Again, while I'm doing that, where are you chiming in from? What part of the country, the world? Is it morning, afternoon, evening? Let me know you can hear me. Make sure we're all good on that front. Give me a thumbs up. Close this door, sir. Thank you. All right, let's get it. All right, again, I'm Coach Nadir, and this is Mindset Monday. For this month, we do and are allowing broadcasting outside of our private community in oprcommunity.com. That's normally where we have our private live cast and our Kings and Queens section for those who are serious, especially when it comes to polygyny versus just curious. You know, a lot of people are curious, so they turn in for entertainment purposes, and we let them know that it's not really what this is, though you're welcome on our public platforms like that. But the reality is, for those who are serious about building themselves, their relationships with their family, whether it's monogamy or polygyny, but that asterisk is definitely on polygyny, since it does not get its fair airplay, then definitely take advantage of us in our community. So I'm going to share and ask you to do the same, but at the same time, I'm going to also ask you, where you from? Where you at? What time zone you in? Is it morning, afternoon, evening, late night? Where are you in the world? Chime in. And if we have not had the pleasure of meeting yet in person or at any of our events, I am Coach Nadir, one of the coaches that help men get their shift together. You probably know my wives if you are familiar with our channel, which is Coach Fatimah and Coach Nyla. Yes, I practice polygyny. And for those of you who don't know, just with the word, because, polygamy is the most common term. And that's why a number of our things are listed polygamy, because, again, polygamy is the most common term. But polygyny is a form of polygamy. Polygamy, again, words are important. So let me go into the definition. Polygamy means to a spouse that has multiple spouses. Obviously, you can see that that's gender neutral, if you will. But for specificity, what we're talking about when it comes to polygamy is polygyny. That means that a husband or a man was married to multiple wives. Now, the flip side of that is what's known as polyandry. I don't know how often you've heard of it, but that's a thing where a woman or a wife is married to multiple husbands. Okay, again, we focus on polygyny, meaning a man married to multiple women. And those multiple women, in my case, are two. That is Coach Fatimah, who I've been married to for over 27 years. And then Coach Nyla for over 12 years. So I've been practicing polygyny now for a dozen years. So with that being said, though, here's the thing. Mindset is everything. That's why we have Mindset Mondays. So just to let you know how this is going to flow, if you are tuning in from Facebook and YouTube in our community, of course, all you have to do is utilize the chat button. You can put a bunch of question marks if you have a question. I am going to share a link shortly. So if you want to call in, you want to have a discussion, a debate, respectfully or whatnot, feel free to click the link, join me live. But where are you from? I see Eulalie is from the Cameroon right now. She can hear me. Everything's good. It's 4 in the afternoon. Oh, that's what's up. Aisha Glennis Robertson out from Richmond, Virginia. Absolutely. 10 o'clock Eastern time. Good stuff. Prayerfully the weather is good over there. I see Talib Dean, El Amin. What's going on, bro? In the community. Definitely appreciate you being here. So again, if you have some questions, feel free to drop them in the chat with question marks in front. Matter of fact, I'm going to put a banner across the bottom of the screen so you know those directions. And if you do want to call in, so far as joining me on the screen, talking live, uncensored, unfiltered, then let's get it. We can do that as well. All right. Now, so I'm making sure everything is congruent with what we do. I'm gonna go ahead and have our little intro, and we will start in about 30 seconds. On our platforms. All right. Welcome back again. I am Coach Nazir. I am the coach that helps people get their shift together. And we're talking about polygamy. Now, again, just to redefine, again, for those of you who are just now joining, of course, I will let you know if you are on YouTube and you're checking in. Of course, we love our YouTube subscribers and what we do over there. You can feel free to press that like button. Also, subscribe if you are not subscribed, and feel free to share. All right. Whether you are on Facebook, feel free to share some groups with other individuals on WhatsApp and whatnot. It helps us get our message out. The algorithm likes it, and we can empower more people that way and really fulfill our mission, especially bringing you some information that you may not necessarily be paying for, because, all the stuff costs. So with that being said, here's the thing. The definition. So polygamy. Polygamy is a broad term. That means a spouse who has multiple spouses. Under that falls two specific branches. That's polygyny and polyandry. Polygyny is a husband or a man who is married to multiple women, multiple wives. And then you have polyandry, which is a woman or wife who is married to multiple men or multiple husbands. All right. Now, you may have heard the term, polyamory. It's polyamory that's relatively more known, or getting more common, I should say. That is not necessarily a form of marriage. That's more a form of open relationship. You have multiple relationships with different people. Sometimes they're having them with each other and so on and so forth. But that doesn't really fall under the polygamy banner, though it could be a man that is, exclusive with these two women, but they could also have multiple men or lovers, should they choose whatever they want in that dynamic. We're not talking about that again. We're talking about polygyny, which falls under polygamy. And I know it's a mouthful, but sometimes you'd be surprised how many people contact us like, you're using the word wrong. It's not polygyny, it's polygamy. And then why are you using polygamy? And it goes back and forth. Look, specificity matters because words matter. All right, especially with the meanings we assign to them. Now, if you haven't already let me know where you're chiming in from, please do. Please do. What country, what time zone. We already got the Cameroon in here. Of course, the U.S. is representing. Where you at? Okay. That's very important. Ooh, itching. All right. So here's the thing. I get asked this question rather frequently. Other than the most common question is, do you all live together in the same house? I'm going to answer that one very quickly, just in case you're wondering, you don't know, maybe new to the channel what we do. No, we do not live in the same house. All right. We don't. First of all, just to give you a little background, you might see me here as Coach Nazir, right? The coach that helps men get their shift together, right? Or you might see my wives. You got Coach Fatimah and you have Coach Nyla. All right, those are my wives. There's not just three of us. All right. In total, all of us with the children is a dozen children. I have 10 biological children. So Coach Fatimah and I have 7, and Coach Nyla and I have 3. Those are biologically mine. Then I have 2 bonus children. So I have a son that's older, and then I also have a daughter that's younger than my daughter. So I have 4 girls first, followed by 6 boys. Okay, so one, that would make sense to live under the same roof. One, unless the roof was large. All right, very, very large, have different wings and stuff like that. But even then, it'd be a challenge. So no, we don't live in the same home. We live in close proximity, always have. Even when moving, I was situated in very close proximity because I want to be close. I see my family, I see everybody every day for the most part. Now, not all of my children live with me too. Again, I'm grown, old. You see these gray hairs? Yeah, somebody granddaddy. I had a grandson just turned 1 the other day. So 2 days ago, alhamdulillah. So yeah, we're getting old. Nevertheless, working for the next generation and getting stuff done and really planning legacy things. So I have 2 daughters that are married. They're married. They prefer monogamy. Then I do have 3 more daughters that I'm responsible for and working to help get them married. And they actually prefer polygyny. Never been in any relationships, none of that. So it's not, I want to hit that stereotype quick too, because the stereotype is that, oh, this, polygyny or polygamy or whatever they would like to, whichever term they like to use. Oh, this is for people whom, this is for women whom society doesn't like, or they have low self-esteem. Matter of fact, right on time. Let me share. You know what? I can probably share my screen with you to show you this. Sometimes we have these conversations, and we talk about trolls in our community being a troll-free zone. Matter of fact, let me just share with you where you'll be able to find info about our community while I'm pulling up this comment, just to show you how widestream or mainstream this type of ill thinking is. Okay, boom, let's go right there. That's our community. Move this out the way. So let me find this comment. It's relatively new. So let me see, what is the person? I'm looking it up, trying to look it up on my laptop so I can share the screen with you guys. But I may just have to go on my phone and read it to you. Let me do that because it's quicker. So, and maybe I could just search it from the phone. Nevertheless, while I'm doing this, though, feel free to share information on Facebook to different groups. Subscribe, like the video for what we got going on. Let me see. Find this person. Is it easier the way they have it set up? Okay, okay, which video is this? This is the video with my wives talking about the polygamy roadmap. If you do not have the polygamy roadmap, then we encourage you to get it. All right, where you at? Polygamy roadmap. Oh, by the way, this is going to be call-in as well. So if you have questions, you don't want to come on live, no problem. But if you do want to come on live, want to speak with me, have some questions, you want to straight shoot, you want to debate, dialogue, or whatnot, then let's do it. Let's get it. All right. So let me see if I can share this. Get to the comments. Where you at? Oh, not the right part. All right. Hope you're thinking of some good questions. Now I see some questions are already in there. If you are like under a corporate account, then respectfully ask you to, put your name in there, whether it's a first name, last name, or if you want to keep the anonymity. Okay, let's do this. Then we can feel free to leave initial or something like that. So let me share my screen and share this with you. Let me see. So I'll do it, yeah. All right, wait. Is it tab? Yeah. It's a tab. YouTube comments. Let's do it. All right. Let me know when y'all see this. I can't really go back and see, but you should see this screen by now, right? Let me check and see if y'all see the screen. Now, if you're in the community, you won't see this right now, but I got something for you anyway after I finish the basic live stream. You probably already reading through it, but I'm going to pull it up on my phone so I could actually see what you guys are seeing on YouTube, because YouTube, Facebook tend to be a little bit behind when it streams, but not so far that you can't catch stuff. So I should be able to see what's happening. All right. So Callie's Dream, whoever they are, they decided that, hey, you know what? I'm going to say what this is with polygamy. Now, we don't know this person or whatever, so it is what it is. So it's common thing. It's nothing necessarily personal against her. She's expressing and projecting how she feels. She says, money will make women so insecure, weak, and vulnerable to the point that they will share a soul. But that sounds pathetic. To share makes them so pathetic and weak that they'll share. Really? That's what it is, huh? All right, so the response was, really? Sad that you project such a false belief because you seek a reason to rationalize how someone can be absolutely fine with something you aren't, just to make yourself feel better. How arrogant. For the record, women can be insecure for a myriad of reasons. Or don't you see the fake lashes, hair, BBLs, trans makeup styles, injections, augmentations? And yes, I can go on. All of this reeks of insecurity and low self-esteem, no matter how beautiful they may physically be. Unfortunately, many unalive themselves, even with millions in fortune like Kate Spade or TT Branch from Mrs. Jessie's, for those of you who know, or Miss Jessie's. Just really unfortunate, sad situation, but it's real. These people that have everything and ending themselves, sad. It says the problem is when women fail to address how they feel about themselves on the inside and discovering what it means to love yourself while working to overcome the conditioning or trauma that has them feeling trapped. We suggest you do less projecting and more introspecting in order to find out why you feel the desire to make such flippant statements that are untrue just to make yourself feel better. Yeah, that part. So that was a comment. Matter of fact, I like that comment, so I'm gonna like outstanding personal relationship comment. If you ain't liked it, why not? Maybe you didn't read it. All right. So the response goes, I'm arrogant, yet you're telling me how I feel and what I seek. Do you know what projection means? If a woman had her finances together and her mental health together, she would not settle for sharing a man. That shows low self-esteem and low self-worth. And the list can go on, sweetheart. At least it was nice. She said sweetheart. All right. That's cool. Oh, so silly, but I got time today is the response. Because sometimes we do have time. Sometimes we just going to, let it be what it is. You can like it. You can not like it. You can hate it, whatever. You're dealing with human beings. So sometimes we can address it. It's not necessarily for that person either. It's more for those people who don't, other people who read the comments. Matter of fact, yeah, this was her first comment, I think, 3 days ago. How about don't marry each other's husbands? Anyway, your hypothesis is baseless. Because most women suffer from low self-esteem issues no matter what their relationship status. 2 examples that expose a pathetic projection of your hypothesis. 1, Samaya Suluhu Hassan. I don't know if y'all know her. Do you know her? If you don't know Samaya Suluhu Hassan, all right, she is the third president. She is the president of Tanzania, but she's also and calls herself a third wife to her husband, whom she loves dearly. So I'm just saying. But, it says you may quit, but she's African. Many people don't even know that Janet Jackson was a 4th wife when she was married to her ex-husband, whom she had a baby for. Think on that. Neither of these women suffer from what she calls her just no money and this or mental health and no money. They don't have money together in mental health. So keep judging, projecting, and feeling sorry for others who are enjoying their life and moving around misery-minded ilk like yourself. It is what it is. So that type of thinking, sad to say, is extremely common. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing that part of the screen. We can get back to you. So what are your thoughts on that? Y'all know people that think like that? All right. Is what it is. So what I'm going to do, though, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time because I want to open this up and also, address what you got going on. Again, appreciate you. Black Narrative, ATL, East Coast or Eastern Standard Time, if you will. The Black Narrative. And here, matter of fact, I'm going to put this in here now. And the good part is we don't have too many people on here. That's not necessarily the good part, but we don't have a lot of people on the show. We'll put it here now and feel free again to share. I know it's, depending on where you are in the world, like, 10 o'clock in the morning. Some people at work can't make it. It's during a weekday. We're going to talk about this. It's very important. Was it a challenge to financially provide for 2 households? All right. Was it a challenge? Yes, a challenge. I mean, of course. You know what I'm saying? You had being a man who wants to practice polygyny, you need to be up to the challenge. As my wife said, you got to be the man for the job. And they said numerous times you have to be more than twice the man. So now, of course, here's the thing. There's flexibility with stuff. Now, I'm not the guy that supports, and people can do whatever they like, whatever works for them. All right. So whatever works for them, I'm going to support that. It is what it is. Do you. That's my philosophy. But me personally, I'm not the guy who's going to be like, hey, baby, you work and then you work. We put our money together in the pool and that's how that's not going to work for me. So my wives have not had to work any type of job. You know what I'm saying? All right. But I've been studying entrepreneurship. I've been studying investing and so on and so forth for a couple decades now. You know what I'm saying? So I already knew that I had to be unemployable by choice. So the methods and things that I took was totally different. I mean, if you already haven't understood the first chapter of Think and Grow Rich, and if you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, put it on your list. I mean, that's an easy book. You can get it right now for like half price books or eBay for shipping, like $3 or something like that. It's crazy. But understanding the cash flow quadrant, you have 4 quadrants. All of them are okay. The question is, what are your long-term goals? And since I changed my life, my name, and everything else, I wanted my future and my children and children's future to absolutely be changed. When I say breaking generational curses, it had to start with me. I don't carry the same slave name that my relatives carry. I changed all of that now. I had a good name, you know what I'm saying? The name was actually a good name and so on. But the name I have now is much better. And is much more firm and has meaning that doesn't come from somebody else giving it to me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I had to step up to the challenge. And that's one of the reasons, I guess it took me a little longer. I initially got married at 19. I was driving a school bus at the time. All right. I was one that, so by the time you get locked up, by the time you're 21, you'll be locked up or dead. I heard that based on my teenage years, not having belief in me from a lot of different people where I came from, the city, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, called the new Jim Crow, where locked up more black people per capita than any other state in the country. With less than 6% black population. It's hell there. It's a lot of stuff going on, man. I have a cousin right now has been locked up 27 years for 3 armed robberies. That was one in particular. Yeah, it's one armed robbery in particular. Nobody died. Somebody did get shot. Nobody died. But he's been locked up for 27 years. See, in the 90s, there was something called truth in sentencing. There was a governor of Tommy Thompson of Wisconsin. This is how this stuff works when it deals with crime bill and Bill Clinton and understanding this game with mass incarceration. Armed robbery used to be 10 years. It used to be a 10-year crime. All right. Now, nobody justifying crime. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But 10 years. 10 years, somebody like you rob somebody, you get 10 years. So that's what it used to be. But it's also known as a crime of poverty, if you will, because you wouldn't be out robbing people and whatnot if you had money. Nevertheless, that was jail is a big moneymaker. It's a multi-billion-dollar business in the U.S. It's one of the thriving businesses, unfortunately. When I was born, there was big movies of shutting prisons down because there were a few 100,000 people locked up, and it was not picking up. You know what I'm saying? So there was a big movement against it, and now there's lock up more people than any other country in the world, even though we're not the most populous country. But armed robbery went from 10 years to 20 years. He doubled it, and then from 20 to 40. So now armed robbery in the state of Wisconsin will get you more years than murder, more years than first-degree intentional homicide. I had a friend, did homicide. He got 21 years. He's out now. My cousin who I'm telling you about, he got 40 years. Yeah, it was on 3 robberies too. It was on 3 robberies, 3 armed robberies. So he got 40, 40, 40. And they said there's a word that people look for when they go to court, especially when you're in the crowd. There's 2 C words. There's either consecutive or concurrent. Concurrent means you serve one of those sentences for all of the time that you get, and you'll be released. Well, the judge said consecutive. So you do 40, then 40, then 40. That's 120 years. Ridiculous. Those people I was hanging around before I became Muslim. I became Muslim, it was like the Tupac song. Oh, you know what I'm saying? You want to go to the mosque, don't want to chase tail. I got a big lick, you don't want to do. It was that. I could relate to that because that's where I was in my life at that time when I became Muslim. And everybody's like, yo, man, let's get out, let's chase these chicks. Let's go ahead and get blown, just do all kind of stuff. All right. And I wasn't with it. But he got 120 years. He's been in now 27. And he's supposed to be going up for parole for the first time in 4 years. All right. That's where I come from, crime of poverty and so on. So was it? Now, did we do stupid stuff when I was younger? Did I carjack? Did I hustle? Did I do it? Yeah, I did. Reckless as all get out. Yeah, man, for sure. But thankfully, I saw some people, met some people that saw me more of me than I saw myself after I started studying, after I started reading. We're going to talk about that shortly. And I started studying finance and money because my people tended to have problems because they didn't have their money together. So it was a whole different thing when it came to the level of slavery I was involved with and what was attractive. And the people that they wanted to talk to, uncles and different individuals and, so on, when they said, oh, if I talk to that boy, it's going to be in one ear and out the other. And it really was because you didn't have what I wanted. You couldn't show me what I wanted. I had a few relatives that had money from their businesses. And I had one that put me to the side. And he was, kind of pulling my coattail, my ear, whatnot, and saying, yo, this is how I did this. I couldn't read or write till I was in my 30s, but I can count money. And it was legal. That matters. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm a multimillionaire, owns several blocks of real estate, lots of land and so on. It is what it is, but I learned some lessons from him that I didn't listen to from the other guys who were just working traditional jobs. That's part of my background there. And if you want more of that, actually, you can even, I did a few short videos on this Coach Nazir channel. I'm not going to grow it, but there's some kind of where I'm from stuff to share with you on that, kind of going back to the hood and doing different things I did, kind of little documentary stuff. So, yeah, I know you didn't ask all that, but sometimes I can get a little lengthy. But in the meantime, let me post this. If you want to come on live, you're going to hit this link and we'll be able to talk now. Black says, we're both women already living within your faith. All right. Yes. Mm-hmm. I was a Muslim. I became Muslim in my late teens. Now, my wife, Coach Fatimah, became Muslim before me. I met her in high school, freshman year in high school. So this is a high school sweetheart. We were together for a couple of years and whatnot, and then we lost touch, and we got back together and whatnot. And I was interested in Islam, and I was studying it, and I showed her some stuff. She took her Shahada and actually became Muslim before me. All right, then I had become Muslim. And we got married. I'm like, okay, well, this lifestyle doesn't allow, kind of this way we live in, so on and so forth. We end up getting married and stuff and trying to figure out what Islam really was. It was a big journey. I mean, if you've seen Malcolm, the different stages of life he went through, I mean, though it was linear in the book and in the movie or whatnot, life really isn't like that. But we ended up coming to find, what's called the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, and became Muslim. So yeah, and I wouldn't marry a non-Muslim. It's permissible for a Muslim man to marry a chaste Jewish woman or chaste Christian woman, like a chaste Hebrew, for example, or a chaste Christian, or of course, Muslim sisters. So I wouldn't marry that, just because I'm talking about building a family. And I want my children to be on the faith that I believe in, and that we can rock together on. So yeah, they were Muslims. Now, Coach Nyla, she had accepted Islam. I don't remember what year. It was like the early 2000s or mid 2000s or something like that. She was not Muslim when my wife and I had met her. So we had already known her. Some people don't think, we had known her, or got married, did this and that. We had known her because we were doing business together. I was expanding my business and stuff like that. She was around. She took some of my trainings and everything else. But she had eventually started studying Islam and went on her own journey and found Islam and had got married and so on and so forth, and had a child and had got divorced. I married her after that. But yeah, short answer, yes. Long answer, all that stuff I just said. All right. Let me see. Rose Nuri. I'm assuming this is a question or something. Because now, if you have a question, make sure you put these question marks at the front of your statement so that I can easily find them and make sure it's a question, not just a comment. So it says, when you get married with a second wife, is it so that you get less love for your first love, like a temporary period that your feelings change towards your first wife because of excited new wife? No. I know as a man, you're not going to understand what I'm talking about in general. So let me give you one of the best ways to comprehend what I'm saying. If you are a mother and you have multiple children, do you have less love for the children that are older when you have a newborn? No. Now, you may have more care and attention because you may have to breastfeed, take his baby, and it's a newborn, it's crying all the time and all that kind of stuff, getting on your nerves. But your love simply expanded. That's it. You don't love them less. It's not like that. It's not like you have this limit for love. Like, oh, you reach your love quotient. That's it for today. It doesn't work like that at all. You know what I'm saying? Actually, polygyny helped my Coach Fatimah and I even get even closer because there are different dynamics that you have to actually grow through. And just like when you go to a gym or you're working out physically, when you're first getting in there and things may be uncomfortable, and you get these micro tears on your in your muscles. Now, these micro tears heal, they become stronger, they become bonded more, and the more you do that and the more you put on it, you can handle, you become stronger, you actually get in better shape. All right. Now, that might not necessarily be the best analogy or whatever, but the fact of the matter is you have to go through and grow through different things. It will stretch you. Polygyny is not the same as monogamy. There are different things that you're going to come across. All of that. It's on a whole nother level. So Talibadine asked, now he is from St. Louis. I see you from the Lou. All right, says, are there any plans on establishing a retreat or social poly mixer? Here's the thing. There is. Yes. I'm going to be frank. Yes. Only for those who are part of our community in the Kings and Queens section. Now, because here's the reason why. It's not easy to coordinate, facilitate just regular traditional meet and greets or events, or like speed dating events, right? It becomes that much more challenging when it comes to polygyny because it deals with guardians or having some men there, making sure you're doing the proper checks in advance to make sure it's a safe environment, it's a private environment, it's something that's healthy. So we are working already on we started working on stuff back in September. So, and a friend of mine is Ali. Many people know him as Baba Ali. He runs a Half Our Dean. He's a close friend of mine for the last couple decades. And just getting some insight from him and a few other people that run live events to get that. But that has to, that information to come out when, it's that time. There's a couple different things you mentioned. One is like retreats, right? That's different. That's what we do on a higher level when we train. So we do have a full 2-day training. Of course, when COVID came, that kind of shut a lot of stuff down. And then we started going, digital and remote. But yep, that is absolutely in the works. And then the other part is more the meet and greet kind of, introducing to different matchmaking for those who have basic interest in each other in order to put them together, because there are sisters who come, they're like, yo, I prefer to be in polygyny. You know what I'm saying? There are some that are single with no children that can have children. There are some who may be divorced or whatnot. Whatever the background may be, it depends on what what's out there, what's available, and then also making sure that you're screening the men and the women. All right, to try to do as best as you can to prevent shenanigans. I'll put it like that. But yeah, bro, indeed, and we're looking forward to that. It hasn't been done yet, so we're looking forward to getting that done on our side. Oh, let me get this out the way. Sorry, that was one of the brothers from our community. Now, if you do not have the polygamy roadmap, my question to you is why not? You got the polygamy roadmap ebook? It's an ebook that we just released from last month, and you can go to it. Matter of fact, let me try to fix this on the screen. You can go to it by going to polygamyroadmap.com, right? You get the men's version or the women's version, or just go ahead and get both. But polygamyroadmap.com is where you can get this at. What I shared there specifically are the 5 requisites that men need to handle and have or equip themselves with if they want to succeed at practicing polygyny. Now, again, there are pillars and there are principles that are timeless that just come with being a man in general. We're always told and been told for the longest, you got to provide and protect. All right, that's no secret. All right, so there's providing, protecting, and exercising your personal power. That's been it from day one. So we get this whole quagmire now. Okay, you have this modern woman think, you have this feminism, you have this liberal stuff really going on, and it's causing some confusion and challenges. But there are 5 things, one, that make you more attractive, willing, and able to practice polygyny in a way that's healthy and fulfilling. All right, so I put the 5 things in there. Then my wives dealt with it from point of view and the different dynamics you go across. And mine was about 14 pages, and theirs, I believe, is like 16, 17 pages, right? So it's simple to the point. It's kind of like, you get this sneak peek. You got to get these cliff notes on the foundation. And that's, kind of is a prerequisite for what we're going to be doing and we'll be announcing relatively soon. So if you are not on our email list, then you definitely want to be there. OutstandingPersonalRelationships.com and subscribe to that. Or you can go ahead and download the free 3 Ways to Win in Polygyny report also. Now, okay. So let me see. Any other questions? Now, if you want to go live with me, got some questions. The link has already been posted right here on Facebook and YouTube. So the link is in there. Just click it. I'll, add you on and everything else. Like you have a good background or whatnot. That's cool. All right. Thanks. Appreciate the background too. Oh, no problem. Black narrative, man. Glad that I'm assuming you're a brother. Black. Yeah. I don't know too many women named Black. Don't know any, matter of fact. All right. Your lady says it's difficult for most women to understand that. This is very, very true. I liken it to a man trying to understand what it is for a woman to experience her menstrual cycle. You can tell me, you can talk about the pain, you can talk about the cramping, you can talk about the bloating, you can talk about the hormonal changes, and you can talk about it, you can share it, I can read it, you can tie with them bands around me, and even the bands that they try to have that shock your abs and all that kind of stuff. You can do all of that, and I'm still not going to get it. I might get an inkling of it, which is different. And it's okay. And I'm not going to shame men, and I'm not going to shame women. We are different. All right? And there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. Now, do men want to practice polygyny in general? No, not in general. You know why? Because it's not easy. You know what is easy? If it was just something that's just fueled by, this is the other term, right? It's just fueled by the lower sexual desires. It's just lust. It's not love, right? You get that. And that's probably how they sound on the inside. I've never heard them say it like that, but I know that's what they think. And it's just lust and love and da-da-da, right? So, when they say that, you know what's easier with lust? You know what's easier? Not being married and fulfilling those desires either way. Yeah, I know it's immoral. But let me ask you a question. You think that people are involved right now, this minute, across the planet, how many millions of people are being cheated on right now? We have no idea. You know what? When you think about the world and millions, you think there's probably somebody on your block right now, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, that's probably cheating, right? Destroying the family, doing something immoral. Now, does that, slow up when it comes to different people, different religions? Maybe, perhaps. But, you want to talk about our pastors? You want to talk about the Reverend Jesse Jackson and his illegitimate kids that came out and all that because he was trying to run for office again? You want to talk about Pastor Jimmy Swaggart and these cats, or you want to talk about the what's these new pastors? Not new pastors. You got Pastor John Gray. You got these. You got them all over the place. Now you got imams too. We ain't gonna leave the Muslims out. You got rabbis and Jews too. You got Tariq Ramadan, people that go and they on the Muslim speaking circuit. You got them. They committing zina, adultery. It's easier to do that. It ain't easy to run a family, let alone multiple families, and to head it up. Not easy. It's worth it, but it's not easy. It's much easier to go with the more welcomed things like prostitution, escorts, jump downs, side chicks, girlfriends, or boyfriends, the way these people made up these days. That's much easier. We talking about something that's noble and honorable. We talking about building. We talking about family. If you talking about something else, then do something else. But we are simply pro morals, period. All right, so I practiced monogamy for what? 15 years before I decided to practice polygyny. But I had to focus on getting my money right, get my money up, get my mind right, and everything else. And still there were dynamics I did not understand and had to learn on my feet because we were getting duped by the people who were supposed to be telling us this. No matter what your religious affiliation or background is or your spiritual belief, guess what? There are probably spiritual leaders, religious leaders that are not teaching you how to practice polygyny. They might teach you the rules and the laws and the jurisprudence, but they're not even telling you how to work or deal with another person. Or let you know about the different cycles and hormonal challenges that they go through, or how to express yourself appropriately, where you're not going to turn into a simp and you die, death by 1,000 concessions. You become punked out, So we're not being taught that. We're being stolen to that. Now, every single religious book, if you follow any book, has it in there. Add polygyny in there somewhere. But for some reason, it gets skirted around. And it's really disappointing when you get people talking about relationships or they're in positions of leadership when it comes to spirituality and religion, and they skirt around that part, knowing that their congregation practices it, or knowing that their congregation need to practice it, versus causing all kind of other issues. If the family is the foundation, the nuclear family is the foundation for a community, then society, hence into a nation. If that's destroyed, if that's a problem, Muslims already know this because Shaitan's number one deed is to break up that family. If that gets attacked, that's not coming together in a healthy fashion, then everything else falls down. That's the first domino. If you don't know how many genders there are, and you looking dead at a giraffe talking about this giraffe is an elephant, forget your lion eyes. Yeah, this giraffe is that's not a giraffe, it's an elephant. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I see Yusuf in the house. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good to see you as always, dear brother. Jawaria, walaikum salam wa rahmatullah from London. How's it going? All right, Oakland in the house. All right, so nobody want to get on with me. Nobody, any question, no nothing. Yusuf, where you at? Nobody. Let me post a link for you again. If you want to join live, here's the link. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about some polygyny. Now, here's the thing. Here's one of the shortcuts I'm going to share with you. It ain't even really a shortcut. This is one of the very important pieces you have to understand when it comes to being here and handling this business. You have to invest in you. You have to invest in you. The return on investment you will likely not be able to measure for the lives that you will touch in the generation that you will change. You have to be willing to invest in you. This is not for entertainment purposes. I already shared that. All right. Educational purposes, absolutely. I had to learn that there were 3 things that will affect and impact you in your lifestyle and who you are more than anything else. 3 things. And my mentors came forward and said, listen, it's the books that you read. The books that you read. So, as an example, and I mention these books all the time, so much so that even the covers, the book covers are gone now for these books. 2 of my favorites. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. If you don't have it, you need to have it. I don't care if you listen to it for free on YouTube, but the physical books, I prefer physical books all day. I could look at these highlights and everything that I've been through in this book for the longest. Whether it's building a team, it's getting your leadership up. You're going to need that. You're talking about leading the family. You know how to communicate. So 17 Indisputable Laws of Teamwork. If you want to build a team, whether it's a work team, whether it's a business team, or the focus team, which is your family, you need to learn how to build that. That's crucial. Now here, those are just books. These are books that you invest in yourself. That's the first thing. The second thing you said, and I saw you, Jawadia, you can come back. Number 2, the second thing you said was the audios you listen to. So the books you're reading, the audios you listen to. Now you can even listen to books now. You got the audio books, you got Audible, you got YouTube, all the stuff. That'll change your life. And the third thing is the people that you hang around with. My mother said all the time, birds of a feather flock together. My mentors used to say, look, if you hang around 5 broke people, you're bound to be the 6th. I got it. Now my circle is almost like a dot. But those three things, the books you read, the audios you listen to, and the people that you hang around with. So I'm about to go ahead and bring you on, Adil. Make sure you know your background is all good. Look like you're driving. So I'm gonna bring this brother on up. Again, it's a call-in show. So if you want to join, feel free to click. Keep your eye on the road though, bro. All right, let me see if I can hear you. Last time I was on here, man, I was having a major problem. Everybody, let me know if you can hear him. And I need to see if I can hear him because I was having a problem last time. Hopefully I don't have a problem this time because right now I can't hear you, bro. If y'all can hear him, put the thumbs up. Say something. You got to say something, bro. Hopefully I can hear you.
Can you hear me, man? Can you hear me?
Oh, man. Come on. Not right now. Oh, I thought this was fixed. I checked this beforehand. Let me get into my settings, y'all. Prayerfully, I'll be able to get to this faster sooner than later because this is not working. Let me see speakers, headphones, rotate. Cannot have this happen twice, 2 weeks in a row.
How about now? Can you hear me?
All right, what I'm going to ask you to do, I still can't hear you. And it's definitely my fault. It's not your fault, bro. It's on my end. But I thought I had it fixed, which is crazy. I want you to feel free.
I can hear myself on your playback. It's like an echo. I can hear myself.
Try to fix this problem, but I'm going to be listening. So if you want to share your thoughts on polygyny, why it's important, what you feel free. Talk to the audience, man. The floor is yours. I wouldn't normally do this, but Tyler is already part of our community, so I know he's good people. And Adil's already, he's smiling, he's driving, so I know it should be all good there as well. But I'm gonna try to get this fixed, man, because I can't have not being able to hear y'all right now. But go ahead, the floor is yours. Introduce yourself. Where you from? I'm gonna be here, but I'm gonna try to mute myself out so I can figure out what's going on with my audio.
Assalamu alaikum, Elder. Go ahead.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum, Maki. Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Alhamdulillah. Yeah,
Right.
I just, it's always refreshing. And I want to thank the brother and his wives for really facilitating this conversation that many of us run from. You know, many of us who have some basic understanding. I just want to commend them and this platform for giving us more clarity in a real way, how this is expressed, and especially as African Americans. And I say that unapologetically as a Muslim, but an African American Muslim. So oftentimes the way Islam is expressed in institutions like polygyny, they're expressed in such a way that I don't think it captures the fullness of our deen and of polygyny. So I definitely wanted to say I appreciate that. And I guess the question that I would have is how, why do we see what I've seen more, even from, I've seen more support just in my experience from women outside.
All right, listen. I can't hear you, but
then some of our sisters
had a good idea. Thank you, Yusuf. Also, she said, "You know what? Try to listen from the phone." So I'm clicking the link to join my own live to hopefully hear you from the phone. I appreciate you, sis, because this ain't working. This ain't gonna get it. So hopefully I'm able to hear from here. This should be good. Man. All right, I'm getting some feedback, but I can at least hear something. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yep, I can hear you, sir. Matter of fact, let me look for my Bluetooth and see if I could just work it like
Yeah,
that.
I was gonna
Good,
say
bam.
you
All right,
probably
let me
had
see
to
if mine
go
gonna
into the
work,
settings
and
and
we be
change it
good.
to Bluetooth adaptive or Bluetooth cord. They have all that settings right there at the dot 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 after your chat at the bottom.
Yeah, I was doing that on the. Let me try. Let me see right here. All right, whatever. I can hear you though. Let's go.
All right, cool. Alhamdulillah. You know, alhamdulillah. Just my name's Adil, Oakland, California, and been Muslim. I reverted 2010, and just glad to see that we starting to have a good positive presence on YouTube. Men like yourself who have actual background to prove what they're talking about, and not this conscious intellectual you know ridiculousness in circles. So alhamdulillah. Like I said, I come from California, but by way of now I'm going to Louisiana, and just the spread of knowledge of this polygynous ideology has always been here. As African American in our community, just to be full transparent, my grandmothers, they were born in the 1930s, both of them, I believe so. My grandmama just turned about 89, 80. Yeah, today, matter of fact, her birthday, 89. So both my grandmamas grew up with each other, went to the same high school, alhamdulillah. And, just to be, like I said, full transparency, they both have more than one baby's father. Okay, married twice, both of them. Okay, one of them was actually married 3 times. And they've experienced trying to juggle, which man they're going to deal with, and the men on my grandfather's side had to juggle which woman they're going to be with. So you see these dynamics of, Papa was a Rolling Stone and grandmama was a Rolling Stone, and sometimes,
Wasn't innocent.
because I'm in the inner city, I'm from California, so it's not all, every older lady got a big church hat on and playing at the innocent role. So in 3 generations now, right, we can see the dynamics of the family deteriorating because we're trying to figure out how to work this monogamous lifestyle. All right. And women are having a hard time with it, and men are having a hard time with it. And just from my 10-year experience of trying to do it the right way, okay, like I'm 40 years old. So I've had 20 years, of experience of female male relationships, seriousness, talking about cohabitating, raising children, and so forth, and actually trying to start business together. So the first 10 years, I'm player, quote unquote, right? I'm dealing with more than one woman at a time, engaged and this and still, on the low, right? Doing my thing on the other side of town. But now moving into Islam, 10 years, this last 10 years, I'm talking to my wife, and I'm not a polygynist, but I will say this: I'm not practicing polygyny, right? But I told my wife definitely, I'm a polygynist in mindset, on how the ideology works. But I told her that I believe in polygynous in only a financial institution type of way first to build, and then let the finance gradually bring us into some type of romantic scenario. So my mindset is always trying to uplift a woman who I'm interested in a financial setting first. So I get involved with her in whatever career she's doing or whatever business ideas I have to see if we're compatible, because I'm that type of forward of thinker. So if a woman can gravitate to bringing in more resources and or strengthening the idea that's already here, then I believe that's the best way to go about it for me. Now, most men, can just say, "Hey, I want you, and I'm gonna put you over here in this house." Okay, fine and dandy. But for me, I really believe that for the conversation with talking to a woman that you're interested in is really trying to figure out, okay, how would this finance work? How would this morally work? You know, where are you at in your Islam, or if you even know about Islam, especially in our community, because 80% Christian. So I'm gonna land my plane right there because I know the OG brother got a lot of things to say. But I just wanted to introduce it, you know, to that. Assalamu alaikum.
I'm sorry.
Salam. Now, just to comment on that though, take this out of my ear, hearing myself. The challenge comes to the first part you said. You said that, you know what, I'm looking at building somebody financially and then, you know, elevating them and building with them. Again, we have the flexibility. Polygyny provides the flexibility for that. The challenge comes with growth in entering these different dynamics. Because now what if you're involved or somebody that you're interested in, as you're saying, you know, and that person doesn't want that. They tick all the boxes. They may want to build a family, be a stay-at-home mother. And I know most women that I've asked, my wives asked, or even coming across even Gallup polls, the vast majority want to be home. They want to be in their feminine role. You know, prior 60s feminism after World War II and want to double taxes to get more women in the workforce and really attacking the fam. One of the challenges in our relationship isn't necessarily that it's not polygyny or trying to figure out monogamy. It's really that we haven't recognized that the Black family has been, you know, a war has been waged against the Black family for the longest. You know, especially back in the 60s with the rise of Black nationalism and consciousness. Once that happened, you recognize who funded this whole civil rights era and those movements were Black working families. In particular, middle-class working families. They can come up to factories in the Midwest where I'm from, and you can work at an A.L. Smith, or you go to Detroit and work at the big three, you know, automakers, and they funded this movement. You know about it. So when you started saying the conscious stuff and being in Oakland, you know what I'm saying, you had a lot of, you know, OG original groups with the Panthers, and then you had those who came trying to be all pro-Black, but they wasn't really for the community. Nevertheless, we are like sadly, some of the only people that don't recognize that there's actually a war out against us directly. And that directly impacts us and our families. You know what I mean? So what would happen when you have the person that will tick all these boxes, but she's like, yo, you know, I want you to provide, or I'll support whatever you're doing. You know, is it a prerequisite for her? And then also with your wife that you're currently with, you know, is she on that same page? We're like, look, we can go ahead and everybody can build together. Or she like, look, I got my babies. I'm gonna run the house and let you do the business side. And then now the incoming one is expected to handle and do all this other stuff as a secretary and be doing this in business. But she wants the same status, or, you know, or not necessarily the same, but the same lifestyle, if you will, as the one that may be at home and may, you know, develop some challenges because she does have that right, you know what I'm saying, in Islam. You know, so those are the things I would just suggest to consider first. You know what I mean? And then, of course, that goes into increasing your financial acumen.
Right.
And we could talk a little bit more about that, especially in our community, because I have some stuff where, you know, this is public. You know, if you want to hire me for consulting, for example, I'm not coming out publicly and sharing the plan with everybody. That's not how that works. And I'm not just talking about you, you know, as a brother.
Right.
I'm just saying generally with consulting and what I do with small business owners and whatnot, you know, they pay me for that. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, definitely.
But we definitely got to build to the next level.
Yep.
Okay, now I can hear. So I was talking, really couldn't. But Talabuddin, Salaam alaikum, welcome.
Welcome, son, bro.
I'm gonna send you back to the audience, bro. You'll be here if you want to chime back in. Just give me a signal, okay? Adu?
Yes, sir.
Yep. No problem.
Salaam alaikum. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. Welcome, son, bro. Let me just repeat some of the stuff that I said when you were having problems with the communication. First of all, I want to thank you for providing this type of platform for brothers who want to practice it from a sincere place, who understand that our families and the family structure is at war, but don't have that acumen in terms of seeing it expressed in a real way. We can read about it, but to be able to look and see someone who looks like me and who practices in a way who can articulate that means a lot for me. So
I appreciate it, brother.
I'm Talib Elamine from St. Louis, Missouri. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Alhamdulillah. My father was a great man. Praise be to Allah for blessing him with me. You know, he was married to my mother for 40 years up until his transitioning. And he had another family. And he wasn't a type of guy. He was a hardworking man, but he was a man who was naturally inclined to help. He was a neighborhood father. So if there were many kids in the inner city of St. Louis, in our particular neighborhood, it was just amazing that when I looked around, my dad was like, in a 4 or 5 block radius was like kind of like the only father. And with that, he always tried to take time. And I don't know how he did it with 6 or 7 days working a week, but he did. But he ended up taking care of a family. My mother didn't necessarily receive that well. And I understand that because he had to, in a sense, hide what I come to understand was a natural inclination to for a man to care for a child and care for a woman. So, and that's where I find myself at. I've always found myself there, and I've always defended as a Muslim, whether I had an interest in it or not, to not make something forbidden that was made permissible. And I asked a question: why do you think that you will find some Muslim sisters who will have more of a problem with the idea of polygyny than, I don't know if this is your experience, this has been my experience, that I've found sisters outside of the community who have a great deal of respect from their understanding what a Muslim man is, who are more open to that than you find some of our sisters in our community. So I kind of want to get your take on that and ask that question.
I can only speculate because one, when you have the hawk, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't know what it takes from that transition, coming from kufr or disbelief to belief. I was raised Christian, kindergarten through 10th grade, Christian school. I mean, we was in the Bible every day. It was a Lutheran, so I even studied the catechism. So I know it thoroughly. And what led me to Islam was actually studying the Bible and disowning our religion. But coming from that and then seeing this system, all right, so many Christians will tell you right now they have a problem with turning the other cheek, right? You're getting slapped. You're like, hold on. You're supposed to allow them to slap you from the other side. You're supposed to be a pacifist, according to that. If that's what you believe he said and he did, then that's what you're supposed to follow, regardless of yourself. But I had a problem with that, all right? I had a problem with God resting on the 7th day and being tired and sleepy and all that. So I had a problem with a lot of stuff. So I had to deal with other things. Then I came to Islam, I was like, oh, this is sweet. Not only does it deal with our nature, it gives us this man, the best man who ever lived, all right, and Prophet Muhammad, ﷺ, and he gave us this example, all right, confirmed what came before it. These are all of this types of stuff, and it came with it, right? Despite me not having any interest in Islam, I wasn't interested. A guy was trying to tell me about Islam, and I said, yo, I'm not giving up my weed, my women, and my baby back ribs. Crazy? I don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't a good practicing Muslim to begin with. Yeah, I saw the movie X and Malcolm X, and I respected the nation and all that stuff, and I thought that's what Islam was and so on. And then I saw Malcolm, before he died and everything, he had accepted Islam. So all of this to say that we can come to Islam from a system that's all the way broken and come to it and see the benefits in it and try to be as objective as possible. Now, women are a little different. When it comes to polygyny, there's a natural jealousy. Now, let's talk about non-Muslim women, though, since I'm related to all the Muslim. I have one cousin, alhamdulillah, she's a Muslim in my family on my Puerto Rican side. My mother's Boricua, she's Puerto Rican. My father's black, he was black, rahimahullah. So on my Puerto Rican side, that's my only Muslim relative. Then I have I have a great aunt, and she's, she follows Farrakhan or what have you. But that's it. Everybody else is non-Muslim. What non-Muslims tend to understand and recognize, they look at things for what they are in general, when it comes to this marriage thing. So they say, oh, all men cheat, so do this. And we don't come from that perspective as a Muslim. You're like, yo, if you have a man, that needs to be enough to protect you from cheating. Polygyny is not a solution for those who you don't cheat. Oh, yeah, just marry somebody else. You can practice polygyny and still be a cheater. You know what I'm saying? Because there's immorality there. There's a problem with your faith or your iman there. But they tend to recognize, okay, well, men are built like this. It is what it is. I already know my father or my cousin or my uncle or, my grandfather. They already had multiple women. They did it and, did different things. Like my grandfather, for example, no one still wants to talk about this. So I can't give you specific details of who, but I was told by a cousin of mine who lived out of state after my grandfather passed that he had 3 wives. Only one, of course, I knew was my grandmother. I had 7 children with her. The second oldest was my father. But when he passed, he went down to Mississippi, where he's from, and for what I understand, died in the home of his other wife, one of his other wives. Did I know any of that? Nah. They still don't want to talk about it to this day. But now I'm talking about polygyny. You know what I'm saying? But he had wives. He took care of them, from what I understood. Now, with that being said, women who are not Muslim tend to know this type of stuff. Islam came and regulated it. They already know it's in the Bible. If they're Christian, I mean, Solomon had 700 wives, 300 concubines, and they consider him the wisest person that ever lived. Perhaps he may be the wisest person that ever lived, according to them, because he had to deal with so many women and women of royalty in these different states, as they say the story is. I don't know. But they tend to recognize stuff. I'll give you one other example. After being Muslim, and before even practicing polygyny, people were like, oh, you know, I like Islam and it's real cool, but they can have more than one wife. And it's like, okay, this is, you know, it's weird, but we were debating. And it was a friend of mine's sister. He had just become Muslim as well. And she said, you know, they can have more than one wife. And I said, you know what? You just talked about going to the doctor. It was like a doctor with her son. She has a son, and he was Muslim. She said, you know, Muhammad, he has money and all this kind of stuff. So, you know, what if Muhammad has all this money and says, you know what? I want to marry you. You won't have to work a job. You live in a house. I want you to take care of your baby and my babies and all that stuff too. I want you to run the house. I'm paying all the bills and everything else. You need a car, get you a car, whatever. And he take care of you. Would you be open to that then? Before I was finished, she's like, yeah, of course. Of course. You know, so she saw the beauty in it when you demonstrated an example that shows about the fairness of what Islam talks about, because Islam is the only religion that restricts and regulates polygyny. It says 4 wives. Islam said, that's it, up to 4. You see these other people, you see these Mormons, they can have as many as they want. They marry sisters and all that kind of stuff. You can't do that in Islam. It's you know, it's highly regulated with things in order to try to achieve fairness. So anyway, why I think they're more amicable to it, because they recognize what's really going on in society and not really falling for the Disney princess syndrome like a lot of Muslim sisters tend to think they can. All right, now there's the whole modern woman philosophy. Well, if you just wait, then this person to come in your life and all this kind of stuff. And you gotta tie your camel and trust in Allah. You have to do the work. You have to take the action and stuff first. And men must demonstrate their value. So we have to provide and protect. You got to demonstrate you can provide security. You have to demonstrate you can take care of a family, right? And then that is attractive in and of itself. And I let sisters know, my wives are letting them know now more than ever. It's like, yeah, what's the absolute right for a Muslim woman? She can absolutely marry a married Muslim man. It's her right to do so. And when you say stuff, they say stuff like, oh, go find your own man and go, it's plenty good man. Then it's like, okay, cool. Where they at? See, I'm a man responsible for 5 daughters. 2 are married. I have 3. Where are these men at that are such good men that allow our sisters to still be single? Where they at? Because I'm looking for 3 of them. You know what I mean? So they tend to deal with more reality in that perspective. And it's sad because we got the hawk, we got the best example. And if men weren't being so pacified by that, we allow them. Well, a man doesn't need to be allowed, but you allow them to be on a higher level. You know what I'm saying? Because Islam says maybe 2, 3, or 4. If you fear you could not do justice, then 1. All right, that's why many ulama, many scholars say that the default is plural marriage. It's either 2, 3, or 4, since that was said first. Then there's the exception, not the rule. The exception says if you fear you can't do justice, then 1. And if that's the case, that means women are absolutely fine being with someone who fears that they are unjust. They don't have the ability to be just. And my mother told me a long time ago when I was a teenager, she said, no woman wants a man that another woman doesn't want. So if you're happy with a man being weak, being unfair and unjust, keep him. Nobody else want him anyway. But I'm trying to build young kings. I'm trying to build young men that are leaders, that are strong. And I pray all of my sons have at least 4 wives that they can take care of and build for generations and build this ummah with and be an example of the nuclear family. That's much more important for society than an individual's fleeting emotions, men or women. So anyway, I know that was a long.
No, I appreciate that, brother. And I thank you and I appreciate that. And you said one thing about justice, because a lot of the disqualifiers, women will say, well, if you can't treat them equal. So, and you mentioned just, and I think that I've come across that with sisters who say, well, you can't treat them equal. So how can you treat them equal? So, you know, basically that's their disqualifier. So, but that's, I appreciate you mentioning just. So
in Islam, it's not about equality. It's about equity. So if you have 5 children, the wife with the 5 children will likely be in a larger house than a wife with 1 or 2 children. So it's not equally, it's being equitable. You know what I'm saying? Now, what they're saying is that you cannot emotionally love anyone equally. And Allah Ta'ala lets us know that no matter how much you try, how hard you try, you will not be able to love them equally. This is absolutely true. Similar to your children. Now, we would like to think we love all of our children equally. No, we don't. No, we don't. Right. Some children get on our nerves more than others. We love them to death. We'll do almost anything for them. But we already know which child is going to give us more of a difficult time. All right. So, but it's okay. That's how we are. And you can't measure. There's no objective measuring tool to say, well, yeah, on the meter, he loves her 89, he loves her 54. This stuff fluctuates. But it's being just and doing what's best for the family and doing your level best, not being oppressive, all right, because you have someone higher to answer to. That's Allah Ta'ala. But Allah Ta'ala did not address the women when it came in the ayat that was revealed regarding polygyny. That's to the men. And the Prophet Islam demonstrated it. So we can't be more Islamic than Islam. And of course, I'm talking to Muslims. I know we have non-Muslims as part of the stream, and it's part of what we do also without saying personal relationships. But with that being said, the man is the leader. If the man has to go and answer to the woman, is he still the leader? Now, that doesn't mean don't take counsel. The Prophet Islam is the best example ever. And when his companions did not obey him at the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, he didn't know what to do. He had never had it happen before. They were upset. They were heated because they thought they was going on Hajj that year. They did not listen. It was Aisha, when he said, cut your hair, all right, do the things, get ready for this, do your slaughtering and cut your hair all the time. Now, they didn't do it. Nobody did it. He went and talked to one of his wives. She told him what to do. She suggested, you know what? You go out and start doing it and they'll follow. They were just in their chest. They were in their emotions at that time. He took the advice of his wives. Any wise man will. Khadija radiallahu anha, to whom he run to seek comfort, to see what's going on, what's happening with me. Am I going crazy? What's going on when Revelation first started? All of these things. She supported him. Even when his favorite wife, Aisha radiallahu anha, tried to make it as though she was better, and Allah gave him something better, and she saw the Prophet ﷺ checked her. He was like, no, Allah did not give me something better. Then he praised Khadija radiallahu anha because she got sick of hearing it in her jealousy, normal, natural jealousy. But the Prophet ﷺ had to raise up. She saw him upset, turning red. See how he gave her, or he gave Allah Ta'ala, gave the Prophet ﷺ children only with her, Khadija radiallahu anha. She supported him through the mission. She believed she was the first Muslim. This woman, Khadija radiallahu anha, and he was only married to her during her lifetime. And some people say, and this is like, well, he was only married to Khadija. Yeah, he was. And she supported him that whole time and supported the entire mission. All right, died supporting that mission. Rahimahullah. She was one of the 4 women that perfected her faith, her iman. May Allah Ta'ala make our women like that. Make us like the Prophet ﷺ and the best companions. So with that being said, we got to understand where we pull from. But these were men. And here's another thing that's seldomly talked about. And I know why it's not talked about, because men don't want to hear their wives' mouths. That's why they don't talk about polygyny. If you want to know why they talk about polygyny in the masjid during Jumu'ah or Talim in court, because they don't want to hear it. When you up there talking about this, and do you want somebody? They don't want to hear it. They want peace. I'm going to tell you why. Okay? They don't want to hear the nagging. They don't want to hear that. Okay? But the reality is, when these ayat were revealed regarding polygyny, it was not just only 4 women you could be intimate with. It was not. You can be intimate with an unlimited number. You know why? Because they had concubines. Yeah, those prisoners of war that you had, it was concubines. That's how they did it. And absolutely allowed. Prophet ﷺ had his only Muslim child, Maria. Yeah, study the Sirah. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to understand that. Allah Ta'ala knows what he created. Now, the important part is because of our engine that we have in us, because of the desire that Allah Ta'ala says he puts in us for women, for gold, for homes, for sons, for all of these different things in the ayat that he revealed in the Quran, we have to understand that. Also, we have to understand how to utilize sexual transmutation. And there's a good book. I don't think I have it here. I do have some different books somewhere. But my Think and Grow Rich book, the original, not the remix one, since the copyright and all the stuff is done. But this whole chapter on sexual transmutation, where you utilize this energy, put it toward and focus on these other things and actually build and grow. All right. And he talks about how our sexual energy can be utilized as men. You want to pacify men? You want to have weak men? Chop them off. Let's see how strong they're going to be. We see it in animals, right? Neutered or spaded or whatever. They get clipped. They become all the way different, don't they? So don't try to pacify us men. Don't try to shame us as men. If you want us to be men, let us be men. All right. And if you want to be that woman that's more attractive, then of course you preserve yourself. Men must demonstrate his value. A woman preserves her value. Anyway, again, I'm going a little long. Already been here an hour, but y'all got something to add in there, brothers.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Thank you, brother.
Alaikum salam. Like, yes, sir.
All right, alhamdulillah. You know, that was real interesting on that key that you dropped with the ayat saying, you know, 2, 3, or 4, but if you cannot be just one, you know, that was a key jewel right there that I think a lot of Muslims really don't focus on, the point of saying that it is proof that you have a just husband if he can balance, you know, a lifestyle of multiple families. That's the proof that you got the best. You know, it is not the proof that you can conserve and control and manipulate and nag him to death when the conversation of polygyny comes up. This is the proof that you got the weakest. You know, this is the proof that you got the most distracted. You know, this is the proof that you got the most person who can be influenced by his environments. And so he will be a Jesse Jackson. He will be a down low brother. You know, he will have desires that'll be hidden from you. He won't be ashamed. You know, he won't have the dispensation to show you who he really is. You know, in the light. You know, and for that conversation to happen and him to be brave at those moments, man, that's the proof right there that he's not in it to manipulate you and make you think you're in this Disney world. Okay, he's here to show you, look, these are the facts of this society. This is the facts of this planet. This is the facts of human beings. These are the facts of Islam. You know, our morality is not based off of how less we can contribute. Our deen is all about how much, measured based on how much we contribute. And if I'm contributing just solely one area, okay, and someone is contributing into several areas, this is a higher level of deen. Okay, so yes, I understand. You know, sisters may feel a certain way when they have this polygynous conversation, but for a man to achieve it and do it right proves the fact that you're dealing with a top tier, high level, you know, thinking man. And you know, the other topic, you know, as far as you know, women and their jealousies, you know, to think, okay, why would you want somebody else? Why do you feel, you know, attracted or having the need for another woman? I kind of look at it, and you can tell me, you know, more about the psychology of this, right? Attraction doesn't come in just one category, right? Attraction doesn't come just physical, right? Attraction comes through intellectual stimulation, right? Attraction comes through spiritual, you know, stimulation. I mean, some I've heard some women read Quran and I've became attracted to them, right? I've seen women with my eyes became attracted to them. I've tasted food or had nice hospitality from women and became attracted to them, right? So attraction is not just limited. And I think a lot of sisters feel as if attraction is limited to one category of a woman, and they're not seeing that, you know, women come in such a variety of attraction that is ridiculous. And then they get mad at brothers like, you know, y'all are just a bunch of dogs. No, you guys are a bunch of roses. It's hard to just be like, okay, a single rose and not a bouquet, you know.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying 100%. So the argument goes, if that's the case, then okay, well, women have attractions too. They might be attracted to different things also, which is true. We humans, right? You know what I'm saying? But it's also reflecting on the reality of nature. So this thing in my ear echoing when I say that, I say, okay, cool. So I'm a man. Let's say I want to have a dozen children. A dozen. I want to have 12 kids. How many women do you think gonna sign up? How many signing up for that? See, it's different for her than it is for me. Because my cycle is one day. We produce them every single day. All right. Theirs is about 28 days, the cycle of the, the moon's orbiting the earth. Right. So one, and me, I can still double my lifetime if I live that long and still should be productive. All right.
Yeah.
So, there's what's called a biological clock. Ain't nobody calling a biological clock for men like that. That's not something that's scientifically stated for men. Now, does that mean that they don't have issues? No, it doesn't mean they don't have issues. That just means a man well beyond 50, for example, at 50, I mean, what is it? I think it's 35 years old or 37. Women could correct me, but I think that's when their pregnancy is considered geriatric. That's a messed up name. Geriatric pregnancy in your mid 30s. You know what I'm saying? So
it should be called Hadar.
That's natural. Now, when it also comes to polygyny, we're talking about responsibility. And I mentioned that earlier. This is responsibility to build and grow a family and to teach and to be there as that leader and make stuff happen. This is not somebody that just wants to, just want to go and just taste this and taste that. That's attractive. It's made attractive to us. As I say a lot, men are seduced by the eyes, women are seduced by the ears. And I don't know of any other creation, period, that's more beautiful than a woman. I don't care if you're looking at sunsets, space, any type of thing that stimulate all your senses. We don't know. And just keep in mind that the minimum amount of wives you have, if you make it to Jannah, and we hope you do, is 2.
Inshallah.
That's the lowest level. 2.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's keeping that in mind. I'll go to some of these questions though too. Okay, I'm gonna put you over here, but you Talib Dean, anybody want to join me live? Feel free. If you want to talk about anything that the brother said, or maybe something needs correction, I could be wrong. Also, that's not me. I just need to make that clear. That's not me talking about the married 2, 3, or 4. But if you look at the Mufassirun, those who tafsir on Quran, this is all throughout many of the ulama, all the scholars. It's not me. I'm not giving fatwa. I'm not qualified for that, nor do I want that responsibility to weight on my shoulders. So I need to clarify that before we go. So that's not coming from me. Look up early ulama, early classical books, and many say it's 2, 3, or 4 is the default, or plural is the default, and the exception is 1. All right. Yusuf says, what do you say? Okay, it's good. Okay, cool. Let's go. You lately. The Cameroon. That's so dope. I appreciate you, sis. Yusuf, OPR must be supported and promoted at all costs. I like that. And I believe that to be true. I will hope you think the same thing. So if you're watching this on YouTube and there's a certain amount of people on YouTube, usually the likes don't really match. So hit the like button and take a half a second. If you like what I'm talking about, you're still here. If you ain't a troll. If you're a troll, you get the like button or dislike. Don't matter. It's helped the algorithm the same way. If you're on Facebook, share the information. We greatly appreciate that. And of course, if you want to go deeper, because again, we're just speaking right now, and I got about 12 minutes because my wives, they're going to be going live shortly, but it won't be in this public platform in about half an hour. So 45 minutes. Then we do have the polygamy roadmap. Look, get the polygamy roadmap. All right. If you want to go deeper, though, and understand and learn a whole lot more, then of course we have our polygamy masterclass. That is a 5-part masterclass that you have our direct emails, our direct, communication back with us, well over it's over like 20-some pages of homework and really some strong details. Understand the dynamics of winning at it, because we are usually our biggest enemies in getting our own way. But that URL, the website is on the bottom of the screen. Or if you just want to join our community, whether it's for free or you want to politic with some other kings and queens and people that are already in polygyny, go to oprcommunity.com. All right, so let's get to some of these questions. If you want to join live, click the link on Facebook or YouTube, or feel free to put question marks in front of your question so I can go ahead and try to find it instead of scrolling and looking down. Let me see. All right, Glennis Robinson. I don't know, maybe it's a statement. So, as a Muslim woman, I would prefer to be married to a practicing Muslim man, whether he has more than one wife. The family is the nucleus, and I love that. This is absolutely true, and I believe that to be true. We assume, here's this whole Disney princess delusion. We assume that, okay, somebody's married in monogamy. So, okay, they're married in monogamy. Then what? Are we really going to sit here and act like we don't know of monogamous families that have all kind of problems that are destructive? Now, the fact of the matter is, if you get married, you're more than likely to fail at the marriage to begin with. Over 50% of men in divorce. But let's not talk and act as though marriages are just a-okay when there's just monogamy. I mean, again, this ain't a monogamy versus polygyny thing, but there's this thing about, oh, you're talking about polygamy. Well, find your own man. Okay, cool. Let's talk about, is domestic abuse real? Because where I come from, every 18 seconds, a woman enters the emergency room with either bleeding or broken bones from intimate partner violence. And it also happens the other way around, but men are less likely to report it from the shame that goes with it. So yeah, that happens a lot. Matter of fact, there's over 90 homicides in the city that I come from in the Midwest, in Milwaukee. People that have died in the state, not just the city, but the state. 90 homicides this year from intimate partner violence. People who said, I do, and I love you, and yes, you know, we're going to go together. Killed them. Crazy. All right. That's real. So you got alcoholism, you got other addicts, you got molestation, you have all these sicknesses and stuff that go on. You know, and just the fact of being married and staying married doesn't make it a successful marriage. It just means you in a marriage. Many people are living lives of quiet desperation, and they think that, oh, because your husband has another wife, that's going to cause hell. But like the sister said, you know what? She'd rather be, you know, married to a practicing Muslim man. She's not going to be oppressed if he's practicing, because you Muslim don't mean much. But if you're practicing, you're trying to be a mu'min or a musid, does matter. But thank you for that comment, sis. That's real. All right, where we at? See, the question marks help. Yusuf, what you laughing at, man? All right, Jamil says, Muslim sisters that misuse these examples of Khadijah radiallahu anha, if you check them, you find that most of them have no knowledge on the sitter, and it's absolutely, I agree with you 100%. Sadly, some of these people leave the deen with the things that they say they have no idea. So it's wild. All right, let's see what Yusuf laughing about. He says, Yusuf is a good friend of mine from Texas. Well, born in Mecca, I'll say that. Born in the holy city of Mecca. Says marry only one or have concubines, which has no limit. They avoid mentioning this part of that. Yeah, absolutely. It's a whole nother level. 'Tis true. Human beings love to pick and choose. That's the ego, one of our worst enemies. Yeah. Iblis, that ring a bell? Our own ego. So let me see. A man should only do according to his own ability to do so. Yep. Indeed. Now, here's the thing, though. A man should have stretch goals. He should have something that's stretching him. Because a man needs some type of purpose. You don't have a purpose, you begin to shrivel, begin to doubt yourself, become weak. You should stretch. Like, for example, a man should be strong. I don't care if you are doing push-ups, you're doing squats, you're jogging, you're doing some lunges. A man should be strong. You could be 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, and you need to be strong. You should be flexible. All right. Minimally on a mental level, you need to be, but physically, you need to be. Somebody come in your house, you need to be able to at least be a threat to stop them, jump in front, you know, be a deterrent. Man should be strong. Man should also have the capability to inflict violence in order to protect the well-being of his family. You should know how to fight. You should know how to fold and make a fist properly. All right. Violence is neutral. Violence doesn't care if you like it, you're pro or against. I'm not pro-violence, not anti-violence. I'm not. You know why? Because when it rains, the thunder don't care. The storms don't care if you like the violence or not. It's going to be a violent storm. It's violent. Violence is neutral. That's the whole history of humanity. Conquest and expansion. Somebody won, was defeated, somebody lost. That's where we come from. The difference is when you have morals, you can pull that back. The Prophet ﷺ said, the strong person, the strong man is not the man who can wrestle the other man to the ground, but it's the one who can control his anger when he's angry. La taghda. Control your anger. That's real strength. But these are men. Anyway, my point is, he should do what he can do with his ability, but he should be able to stretch. This is why I tell every man to be capable of practicing polygyny. Be capable of taking care of more than one woman, marrying more than one, even if that's not in your plan. The reason being, what it makes of you. If you have the resources right now to have 2 homes and have that running, even if you don't plan to, at least now you can invest that. You can give it away for sadaqah. You can do a whole lot of stuff, but it makes you more. The problem with being great, the biggest enemy of being great is being good and being comfortable. If you're comfortable, you're not stretching. You're not going for more goals. You're not striving to be more. You okay. Who said average was all right? That's why we're outstanding personal relationships, not good personal relationships. You want to be outstanding. Average, nothing but the top of the bottom, or the bottom of the top. That's average. Okay ain't good enough. You should stretch yourself as a man. Men need purpose, need to grow, need to build. And we need to do it while we're here before we are gone. At least that's my belief. If you like a weak, little, soft little person that you want to run over and all that stuff and call that, to each his own. Elite. Alaikum assalam, bro. Just purchased the ebook for men. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Let me know your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Again, the 5 references are in there. It's well spelled out with a whole lot of resources, especially with the financial part. So let me know what you think, bro. And let me know in the community. Appreciate you. So my man here, well, this woman says the delusional Disney princess syndrome. Absolutely, Lavender Geisha. I thank you for watching and supporting. One of my wives, yo. All right. CH says, if I ever got to practice religion, it could only be if we all live together. It'd be hard for me to see 2 or more houses, women and children, as equal parts of my family. If I ever got to the practice of religion, it could only be if we all live together. It would be hard for me to see 2 or more houses as equal parts of my family. I don't know if you're a male or female, so I don't really get that part. But hey, it's up to you. You know, it's up to however you make your agreements. You know what I'm saying? So do that. My man's Yusuf. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, man. How you doing, man?
Alhamdulillah bi khair.
Alhamdulillah.
I'm doing very well. How are you, Akhi?
Alhamdulillah kulli hal. Everything is good, you know, by the grace of Allah. Love your work always. Like I said, this has to be supported, you know, promoted everywhere. Because unfortunately the harb al-Islam is from every angle, you know. The attack, not just from polygyny. You already know that attack on Islam comes from all levels, whether in the US or even outside the US. I don't know if you knew that in so-called Muslim lands, they're actually attacking this concept through so-called religious programs, where they bring these so-called shuyukh that twist the meanings now, where they try to, like, you know, forfeit the idea of, you know, the secular belief or the feministic ideas. So it's gonna be a lot of work. You know what I mean?
So, Yusuf, tell me about polygamy.
It's the best thing ever. Well, I mean, look, first of all, we as a Muslim have to understand that, as you mentioned previously, that, you know, we go by what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and our Prophet sallam brought to us. You know, this is how we're supposed to view things in life, right? From the Sharia, from the Quran and Sunnah. So whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we believe in it, okay? There should be no argument. But the issue is that we call ourselves Muslim, yet our thinking is based on Almaniya, you know, secularism or capitalism. We think like capitalists. We think like secularists.
Now, I'm gonna let you know though, as you're speaking, and I don't like to, you know, to cut you off, because we talk all the time, but we also keep in mind we have a broader audience of Muslims and non-Muslims also.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So, alhamdulillah khair. So I'm speaking from, let's say, the Muslim perspective, because even for the non-Muslim, if you look at the lifestyle, like what makes the lifestyle that we lead right now in terms of, like, you know, this so-called Western lifestyle, what is it based on? Is it based on man-made? Is it based on somebody that just they came up with it? And how is that working for you so far? Because if you do a comparison right now, if you look at the lifestyle, let's say in the West, it's actually crumbling. Like the concept of family doesn't exist anymore. They're actually redefining it right now. And then they're taking that so-called of, you know, the mafia of the LGTV and the feminist concept, and now they're pushing it to the Muslim lands through political means, through economy, whatever you call it, but it's happening, right? So we need to ask ourselves, when we live this life, I mean, is it based on our own desire? Is it based on, you know, a creator that actually tell us how to live it? And who is best to know how to live than the one who actually made us? Does that make sense?
No, 100%. I mean, that's more, again, that gets into the theological discussion that anybody who's really questioning things are asking, you know, what is the purpose and what's going on, and be able to evaluate. And that's kind of the first steps of really becoming or coming into your manhood, is getting these answers to these questions. You know, so one of the reasons polygyny in particular is so attractive in Islam, is so attractive, is it's not going to lie to you. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to lie. That was the days of old. The fact of the matter is, we are actually the same. We are humans. The only things that change from the old times is technology. As a matter of fact, this technology we have is unprecedented and it's new, very new. So much so that 150, 200 years ago, they still had horses and buggies. They had lanterns and lamps and torches. So right now, being able to speak to people on several different continents, this is all new. What was new was I was 12 years old, and for Christmas, I got a black and white TV. And I was excited, even though color vision and color TV was in. And now look what technology has done, where we have smartphones that have better technology than they had when, the space program back in the 60s. And whether or not they went to the moon, who knows? But I'm just saying, so that goes into questioning life. But polygyny, they ain't going to lie to you. Listen, polygyny is allowed. This is what it is. These are restrictions. You can cannot like it all day. But one thing you're not going to be able to do is deny it. And if you look at problems in the society, you look at polygyny can actually bring a lot of stability to a family because it's a noble thing. But I like this comment that was put up. It doesn't really have a name with it. It says, it's amazing that women in our community are demanding men to be men. And at the same time, whether knowing or unknowingly, try to limit them in the manifestations of manhood. They want leaders to do what they want them to do, while at the same time belittling the men that cower to women. Ajib, we have a lot of work to do. Ajib, indeed. 100%.
Exactly.
Hey, let me give you an example. People love much more today a man that they never met, built statues for him and stuff, have a federal holiday for him, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now, again, he fought against the system. He rode with the system. He did a number of different things. No matter what you think about him, here are some basic facts. Some facts is that this man was married. He had children, right? Coretta Scott King. People love her as a queen and all this stuff, right? Her and children, he has all this stuff. Come from, good lineage. He was a reverend preacher. And fact is, my man had plenty of women.
Yes.
Plenty of women.
Yeah.
All right. The feds went ahead and bugged them, as they were doing many black leaders at the time who were, fighting for independence and so on. Well, yeah, plenty of women. I mean, you want to talk about freaky? My man had orgies and all kind of stuff working. His whole crew had it going on. You know what I'm saying? That's the lifestyle they were living. He had the book. He knew he could marry more. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't supported like that back in the day. But one thing that polygyny does is makes a man responsible for his pleasures. So whatever reason you want to do it, you need to be responsible for your pleasures because there's responsibility that come with that. And for those who just worried about sex, you really got to get over that part. That's part of life. I mean, think about it. How many hours a day, if you're in monogamy, how many hours a day you having sex? No, plural. How many hours a day? Is it 10% of the day, 15? Come on. And then don't be dismissive and just say, it's just simply about sex. Because is that the reason your husband married you? Oh, I just need to have sex. She looks like she'll do. She'll warm my bed. Don't be dismissive. Marriage and this union and building families is something extremely noble. And sex is what allows us to still be here to 7+ billion people on the planet. I don't know how old you are, but I know that my parents, when they were teenagers, they mid-teens, at 16, they got really, really excited. And several months later, I was born to 2 teenage parents when they were 16. It happened. Yeah. And it still happens.
It's part of
they got married a few years later, then them got divorced a few years later after that, and so on and so forth. That's just my story of where I come from. But several years ago, some decades ago, a couple people got really, really excited. A man who was a man, a woman who was a woman. There were no gender issues at all. They got so excited and something was explosive and that egg got fertilized and now you're here. That has to be so good because if it wasn't so good, this population would not continue to keep going. But we need those rules and regulations in place or else you get all kinds of foolishness, all kinds of deviations and different things that are wild, that lead to the degradation of humanity and oppression. Whether we're talking about what just got exposed down in Kansas City, Missouri, with these girls getting kidnapped, 2 of them getting killed and 1 being held for a month. Thankfully, she was able to escape, getting raped repeatedly and tortured by this white supremacist, while the police just turned the other eye when community leaders and individuals saying these women are getting stolen from these places. And they were like, no, they're not. They didn't even say, we'll check into it. They just said, no, they're not. Meanwhile, women losing their lives. And I think it's over 64,000 black women in particular that are on the missing list right now. So, let's be real about protectors and providing. And as the sister said, she'd rather have a practicing Muslim, somebody that's practicing and doing his job and being a good husband, than worrying about having this full-time husband. And let me just share something with you, sisters. Many are like, okay, well, I need to see my husband all the time. No, you don't. No, what if your husband's a surgeon? You don't see him all the time. He'd be on call, sleeping at the hospital. Or if you're married to a fireman and he works 3 days on, 3 days off, so you don't see it for a few days at a time. Come on, let's be real. I know we got to grow up. I know we have to deal with our emotions. Yeah, and men also have to be handling their responsibilities. But you got to be willing to lead. And we can't really consider ourselves adults if we love a beautiful lie over a direct, brutal truth. So anyway, I only got a few minutes left. You got anything else you want to add, Yusuf?
Alhamdulillah, yeah, excellent point. I mean, especially this is part of human nature, to procreate and whatnot. Unfortunately, anybody that wants to attack the concept, they're going to make any kind of excuses, right? They're going to say, "Oh, you want to do it for the sex? Okay, if it's halal, what's wrong with it, right? Oh, you want to do it for this?" I'm like, even the verse that you mentioned, فَانكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِنَ النِّسَاءِ مَثْنَى وَثُلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ, right? If you can do adl, then wahida, and they never continue the rest of the verse. But if you look at the reality, like in general, if you look at society, in a way, people actually kind of living like a polygamous life, but not through the halal way. What I mean by that, they have side chicks and this and whatnot, and cheating and all that destruction. It's happening already, right? But Islam gives us a solution that comes from the Creator. It's going to work. And that's why, unfortunately, specifically talking about the Muslim community, I mean, this topic, it's very sad because even if you bring it up, you're going to be attacked from the non-Muslim on one hand, then you're going to be attacked by the Muslim as well, right? So that's what I'm saying. This effort, mashallah, what you're doing is great, and it has to be supported and continued, because we are not just trying to revive the practice from our deen, but this is actually a solution. It's from Islam. It is a solution also to mankind in general, if they understood it, right?
Oh yeah, indeed. Yeah, you're nice. Indeed, I definitely appreciate you, Yusuf. Good to see you. I see the silver coming through, man. We're gonna have to get together, bro. No doubt. I'm gonna address a couple of things and then I'm gonna shake and bake because otherwise I have to get busy. So good to see you, Akhi. Alhamdulillah. Barakallah feekum. All right, so BDON3. So it's either B Don, but Don 3, what have you. I don't know. But he says, what's good, coach? What's happening? Texas in the building. I can't thank you and OPR enough for this content. I'm 28 and been married 5 years. Congrats. Bringing up police to my wife has been interesting. If you don't know about the word interesting, that's a neutral word that we tend to use when we really don't know what to say or do when things have been a little challenging and we've been there. So with that being said, bro, I can imagine. But I'm glad you had the conversation. We encourage everybody to have a conversation, whether you intend to practice it or not. All of these things matter. Where am I at? Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I can hear. Okay, I'm not gonna bring anybody else on, so I don't need this. I'll close it. All right. Definitely appreciate that, bro. Make sure you're being proactive. Make sure you know those 5 requisites and you build it. But the main thing is that you had conversation with your wife about it already. And I also encourage sisters to bring the conversation up so that you're not blindsided with something later or you unapproachable. You feel, he can't come talk to you and then tell you after the fact. It's better to discuss it and have an understanding prior to marrying again, to know where you stand, to know if there's any other traumas and unresolved things that need to get handled beforehand. So I'm going to share something with you, though. Just a few things. This right here matters. Oh, man. And it's heavy. It's like 25 pounds. All right. All of these here, these things, these journals. Not journals like, oh, this is my diary. Nah, that's not what this is. These are books that were blank, that have much more value than the books that I bought and read that have stuff in it. Because this is in my handwriting. This is stuff that I've learned from my mentors when I'm studying and investing in myself and going through courses and learning and so on. For example, you see this book here. What is this one? I had the sticky notes on it telling me the years, right? What year is this? All right, January 1st, 2008. Let's see if you can see that. Personal stuff all up on there. All right. So the dating here, if it's not trying to use my eyes, January 1st, 2008. So I go through this. This is a journal. Things that I learned, been studied, all this kind of stuff to really build myself up to become better. All of these things. This is 2016, 2009, 2013, 2014, 2005, 2004. We can go back. And these aren't even half of them. All right. Again, I have also another stack of them at my other house. But the point is to be able to invest in yourself to get an amazing return. You won't go bankrupt investing in you, whether it's the courses you take, the books, the audios, the mentoring, the coaching, the counseling. All of these things matter because where you are today, you plan to be here. Now, my camera's going to shut off. That's definitely telling me it's time to go because my battery's dying. So I'm going to cut it short. I appreciate all of y'all being here. I'm going to check just one last question. I do have. Sister says, some women like to dangle divorce over the men if they're interested in polygamy. Shaking my head. Yeah, that's pretty shady, but it's usually emotional reaction to a threat. And the man has to weigh whether or not he's going to be with that. Either I'm going to live in resentment, not being able to practice something, feel like I'm controlled by a woman, or I'm going to go ahead and do it and roll the dice and be with somebody that's going to be on my side and be supportive, regardless of the fact, especially if you're taking care of and you're a good guy. If you're not a good guy, why be with him anyway? Just being real. Yeah, that's your piece of trash, but why you guarding and trying to defend your piece of trash? For the status quo, for what other people say of you? But if he's a good dude and you're willing to leave a good guy, there'd be a lot of women willing to step in that place. So you might not be willing to, they might not want to try that really as the best method going from that direction. Anyway, my battery's flashing. Let me know it's time to go. I appreciate all y'all being here. Make sure you get the polygamyroadmap.com. Like you said, if you want to support us, share the information, get the polygamyroadmap.com, join us in our community. All right, I know y'all can still hear me because the camera done shut off. But I'm going to end it with that because that's letting me know it's time to go. Appreciate y'all. I'm Coach Nazir, coach to help people get their shift together. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.